Hello guys, and welcome back to the second episode of Relationship Goals. Today we're going to be talking about how to buy a house. This is going to be a step-by-step guide. I'll also be briefly talking you guys through how my fiance and I, since meeting, have been able to build a 500k property portfolio. Before I get into this, don't forget to subscribe. You don't want to miss any of this amazing content. If you like videos like this, if you love this relationship goals series, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and also turn on your notification bell so you know every time I upload. So without further ado, let's just get straight into this video on how to buy a house. Now, as you guys saw in one of my previous videos, my fiance bought a house for us to live in. So since then, I've just been getting like so many questions about buying a house. So I was just like, okay, let me just put this all into a video and summarize 5 steps on how to buy a house. Now, I do understand that we are in quite a trying time economically, but in my opinion, a recession or the current climate which the world is heading to is one of the perfect times to invest in property. After this whole lockdown has been lifted, these coming years could honestly be an opportunity for you guys to snap up the perfect property at a really good affordable price. Now, most of my demographic are people within their 20s. This is one of the most important times of one's life. That whole 20s decade is so important because it is the opportunity for you guys to set your life up forever. Talking about this house topic is something that I'm so excited to share with you guys. I just thought I would spread some of my knowledge and hopefully this will help. I just want to put out a disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. These are just opinions based on my own experience and my own knowledge. Alright, so let's just dive straight into the first step on how to buy a house. First step would be to understand how much you are eligible to borrow. This is the most important for me because from that you can determine which properties can be available to you in which areas. Within the UK, a lender will borrow 4 times your current income. So whether you're self-employed or on a payroll, just times your current yearly salary by 4, and that is just an average representation of how much a lender can borrow you. Keep in mind that this can be subject to less or more, but in general, just times your salary by 4, and that's the number that you should be working with. For example, if you are on 50k per annum, this is before tax, not after. 50k times 4 is £200,000. So that's how much you would be eligible roughly to borrow from a lender. Story time. Okay, so when I first met my fiance, we've known each other for about a year and a half. We met November 2018. So when I first met him, on the second date, I was quite intrusive and I did ask about his salary. Those guys who know me and who are close to me know that I'm all about my business. If I feel like I'm gonna have a future with someone, you best believe I need to know that I'm gonna grow spiritually, financially, mentally. We need to see growth here, okay? So I need to know what I'm working with. I don't know if I would give that advice to everyone to ask on a second date how much somebody earns, but that's what I did, and you know, it works for me. At first he was a bit like, wait, what? But then I was like, yeah, it's no big deal. I told him mine, then he told me his, and then from there I was able to calculate how much he would potentially be able to borrow, and then from there we were able to create like a financial projection together. Once you've times your yearly income by 4, you have 3 options. Number 1, pick an area. Now, if the area you are currently in, the house prices are in general too high, move area. Find out which areas could be best for you in terms of house searching and house prices. We need to be as realistic as possible. Second thing you could do is find a fixer-upper. So when I say a fixer-upper, find a property which is maybe a bit run down. You can get a property like this below market value, which is what we did. The final thing that you could do is make a realistic career projection path or business path projection. For someone like me who was not born with a silver spoon in their mouth, I had to work my ass off, but I knew from the beginning where I wanted to end up. So I know what salary I needed to end up on, and I roughly knew how long it would take me. From my graduate scheme to actually getting into full-time employment, I had made a legitimate career projection path as to where I was and where I wanted to be, with timelines attached to it. Thankfully, the two of us started in our 20s. I'm still in my mid-20s at the moment. The earlier you start on this, the better. Now, the second most important step when it comes to buying a house is to check your credit score and credit report. Guys, check. Places like Experian, ClearScore. There are so many online websites where you can easily check your credit score. Story time. I remember when I was in uni, right? I had a friend, so she moved in with another girl, so it was like a 2-bed. Now, one of the girls put her name under all the bills, right? This was like in university, we were young. We didn't have much knowledge. For some reason, upon moving out, the bills was still in her name, but the bills were not getting paid. As a result, her credit score plummeted. Like, have you seen when someone dives when a professional swimmer dives? That's how her credit score went. Even in Freshers Week, right? You would have different credit card companies set up in the hall to be lending money to students who are not even making any money. Like, I don't even know how that's like ethical. Oh my gosh, £500 limit, £2,000 limit, buy alcohol, and they clearly cannot pay that money back. Like, we could hardly afford food. How are we going to be paying off credit cards with no income? If you find yourself in sort of a pickle when it comes to either having a bad credit score or maybe you don't have credits at all, my advice would be to go to your bank and apply for something called a credit builder credit card. This is actually open to quite a lot of people despite your credit history. It's basically a credit card which has a very, very low maximum spend. So it will be like maybe like £200, £400. But the point of the card is literally just to be paying everything you spend off on a monthly basis so that it can raise your credit score every month, if that makes sense. So for example, okay, let's say I take out credit builder credit card that has a £300 limit. Use it for small things like groceries, blah blah blah, but just set up a direct debit from your current account so that you can be paying off automatically the money on your credit builder credit card every single month, and this will help to increase your credit score fairly quickly. The kind of home I grew up in, if you don't have it, don't spend it. So credit cards were just like no. But then by the time I got into full-time employment, like, I was like, okay, like, I can't prove that I can borrow and pay back, so what am I gonna do? Like, you don't necessarily have to have a credit card. Like, I know some people who literally had like phone bill direct debit and, you know, were able to get mortgages. So I think everybody's case is different. Guys, just get your credit in order. Just line it up, okay? The third tip when it comes to buying a house is to save for a deposit. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard this over and over and over again. Yes, we know you need at least 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, maybe even 50, 60, 100K for a deposit for a house, but this is so important. I've seen so many people that earn so much money and that literally save nothing. Oh my gosh, when I see that, it literally hurts my heart. It doesn't matter how much or how little you earn, like, saving is a necessity of life. It's a basic skill which you need to learn. It takes discipline, have some sort of goal when it comes to saving. I don't even like my expensing as being above 5% of my total income. I actually hate that stuff. Like, I hate it. Well, I thought I was prudent, then I met my fiance and then I saw prudence. The point I'm trying to make is you need a deposit. My personal advice would be to put down a deposit of 11 to 15%. That's just my own personal preference, my own personal advice. That's what I do for my own properties. However, for this current property that we're in, we actually put down 25%. The more you can put down, the better in the long run, because there will be less money monthly that you need to pay back in terms of the mortgage amount which you've taken out. Hence, the mortgage on this house is like tiny. Keep in mind that lenders will go through your financial statements. You need to let them see that you are financially prudent, not that you're spending every last penny of your monthly income on I don't even know what. Like save. I actually don't even have any bottoms on. Like, oh, it's actually really hot, guys. I know this is like so random. I literally have not even dressed up like this whole week. I haven't had to like talk to clients or my employees. I've literally just been on calls, so like I've been living my best life, and right now I can feel some nice breeze. Anyway, TMI, let's get back to the steps. Moving on to step number 4, this would be to find a lender and get a mortgage in principle. A mortgage in principle is a letter from the lender saying that they will borrow you a certain amount. There are a few mortgage places that I would recommend. If you guys want an in-depth video on that, please let me know, and do your own research on what could be the best options for you. But the main thing you need is your mortgage in principle, especially when it comes to putting down offers for properties, because the estate agents will tell you you need to send over certain documents, your ID, as well as your mortgage in principle, so that they can take the property off the market. Once your offer on a property is accepted, then you can make the full mortgage application and most likely be approved, if there's nothing wrong with the property, obviously. The 5th and final most important step when it comes to buying a house is knowing where you want to buy. Know your area. My fiance and I personally, we like to buy properties in main city centers. Long term, when it comes to investment purposes, those are the properties which make the most sense. But you need to find an area which works best for your financial situation and an area which you will feel happy and comfortable in. So after you've figured out how much you potentially want to borrow and how much you're able to put down, from this you naturally be able to calculate how much your monthly mortgage payments are going to be. Now, please bear in mind that your mortgage is not the only payment which you will be making. Add your council tax bill. As long as you have the address, you can find out what that is, or ask the estate agents. Add in just an extra £200 for utilities, bills. Please bear in mind that this may be a lot more or a lot less. If your mortgage, your council tax bill, and your utilities bill end up coming to a total monthly amount which is above 60% of your salary, in my opinion, that is not an investment. Now, you often hear that, oh, property is an investment, buy. But the honest truth is, if you are not using that particular property as an investment property, i.e. renting it out, using it for other business purposes, if you are literally buying it to live in and you are spending 60% of your monthly income, you will be caught in the rat race. Now, the rat race is working to pay off debts and bills. At the end of the day, a mortgage is a debt. It's just that it's classed as a good debt. Guys, don't run yourself into the ground buying the most expensive house and then you can't sleep at night. It's genuinely, it's not that deep. It's really not that deep. After your food expenses, the likelihood is that you probably won't be saving, because you more or less are spending most of your income on sustaining a certain type of lifestyle, and it's just not worth it. Live within your means. In our case, we found a property which was 20% below market value, 25% of the value of the house was paid up front, as well as that only half of the total of mortgage amount offered was actually borrowed. So taking all of that into consideration only equates to like 2% of salary, which is amazing. All right, guys, that rounds up all of the 5 steps on how to buy a house. I hope you guys found this helpful. Financial security is so important. So when it comes to finding or being with someone who you want to spend the rest of your life with, you need to take into consideration finances. It's not the most important thing, but it is important. If you're going to be with someone who cannot save, doesn't want to improve financially, who's dragging you down, why are you with them? The point of a relationship is for you guys to grow and build together. Within this year and a half that I've been with my fiance, there's been like an exponential growth. Spiritually, mentally, financially, like there's growth, and that's what a relationship is about. It's better for you to be by yourself than with someone who does not add value to you, and that's vice versa. A woman coming into a relationship should add value, and a man coming into a relationship should add value. We sat down, we did a financial projection, a financial plan of where we want to be, and we're working towards it. By God's grace, we'll be living la vida loca. This decade of my life is one of the most important when it comes to setting myself up, setting my kids up, setting my generation up. If you have any more questions, please leave them down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.